One reads that there are protests and demonstrations and pussy hats and pots being banged and people blocking roads and people burning Teslas in car showrooms. Particularly stupid thing to do because Elon Musk's already been paid for any Tesla that's in a showroom. It's the poor guy that owns the showroom that's bearing the loss of that. One reads, and it may be propaganda, that there's a rising tide of opposition to Trump at home. Is that your sense of it?
Well, I'm always happy to join you, George. And it's an interesting thing what's happening right now, especially when you compare it to where we were during Donald Trump's first term in office, right? Because you saw these mass protests in Washington, D.C. around the time of his inauguration the first time around. And you saw these increasing clashes that just kind of continued throughout his first 4 years. I feel like the position that we're in this time around is a little bit different. And part of that comes from the fact that you had such a strong mandate for Trump in the 2024 election. So while yes, of course, you do have opposition, that opposition feels a bit scattered this time around, right? Democrats are a bit in disarray. They're looking at 2024 and some of them are going, what in the world did we do? We knew that we could not win with Kamala Harris, and others are still, I guess, believing or maybe trying to figure out what in the world happened. And the fact that you've seen some of these protests really hone in on Teslas or Tesla showrooms, to me has just seemed ridiculous, right? I mean, yes, Elon Musk is always by Trump's side. In some ways, he almost kind of feels like the co-president that none of us Americans elected, but he's there. And exactly as you noted, you're not hurting Elon Musk when you're targeting Teslas. In fact, you're bringing more media attention to the Tesla brand and to how popular it is here in this country, which is kind of ironic because it was the Biden administration, after all, that really wanted to make that transition to electric cars. So I think we're kind of in this weird point at this moment where yes, you have Democrats trying to figure out how do we proceed. You've got, AOC and Bernie Sanders now holding rallies together, trying to figure out what in the world they're going to do in 2028. But you also have Republicans in this position of trying to figure out, okay, how do we trust Trump on foreign policy? And I know this is something that you've been covering as we're looking at Trump and going, okay, this is the guy who he campaigned on peace in the Middle East. He campaigned on ending the war in Ukraine. Is he trying to pursue talks with Russia? Absolutely. Is he ending the war in 24 hours? No, not exactly. And then when you look at the Middle East, not only is he continuing to do Israel's bidding there, but on top of that, he's also bombing Yemen, getting us back to the brink of waging war against Iran. This is not peace in the Middle East. And so I think even as you have Democrats in a position where they're kind of confused, you also have a lot of Republicans looking around and going, okay, is there any way to actually stop this, to bring us back from the brink? Just because it's not World War III against Russia doesn't mean it couldn't soon be World War III against Iran.